So this is a 10x magnification 25mm objective lens mini monocular telescope. They've sent this to me to review for free. They haven't paid me for this review, and my opinions remain my own. If you wanted to purchase this, it would cost you about $70. So in the box we have a little storage bag, and we have the scope itself along with the user's manual here. So the scope has lens caps at both ends. This one over here at the objective end is attached. This guy here has a little strap that you could attach it to, like the wrist strap port, for example. So this guy has a twist up eyepiece, and so if you're not wearing glasses, you can twist this up to kind of put your eye against and get the correct distance from this guy. Now if you are wearing glasses like I am, you should typically leave that down. Now this twist up eyepiece is hard. It's not rubberized, and I'm not certain. It might be metal, or it might just be a very hard plastic. I'll get a magnet out to tell for sure. But it twists up, and it's relatively small, so I'll have to see how comfortable that is to use without glasses. And then you have here your focusing knob, and an interesting thing about this scope is they claim it can focus down to like 1 foot, like 1/3 of a meter, and so you can use it kind of like a macro scope to kind of zoom in on things that are, you know, about 1 foot away, or you can focus out to infinity. And we'll see how well the focusing works here. It looks like it's spinning around multiple times there for the focusing, so it feels like it has a lot of adjustability. Now, it feels very well made. It's very solid in the hand. It feels like there's a lot of glass, a lot of optical elements in there. It's a straight through design, but they claim there's a prism embedded that, you know, flips the image so that it's, you know, optically correct, or, you know, a correct image scope. All right, total weight with all the accessories is 131 grams. Now, with nothing but the dust caps, as you might carry it around in a pocket, it's 113 grams. That's just slightly under 4 ounces. All right, so my belief is that the eyecup here and the body is all aluminum. The exception of this little pin, which is designed for mounting the wrist strap to. That guy, it snaps to and sticks really hard. So I suspect that's probably our chrome steel. But as long as you're keeping the entire thing dry, that's not really going to be an issue. I did have a little bit of concern about putting this eye cup right up on my eyeglasses. It is a very smooth edge there, but I looked up the hardness of aluminum, and it's like 2.75 on the Mohr scale, and polycarbonate is like 3 to 4. So theoretically, the aluminum won't scratch my polycarbonate glasses. Now, if I had real glass glasses that are like 5 or 6, I'd be a little, you know, I'd feel that difference was big enough that I didn't have to worry about it. So I definitely am not trying to scrape this around on my glasses. I, you know, hold it up to my glasses, and then, you know, try not to move it around on the glasses. Now, using it without glasses, it's a little small. It doesn't like go around your eye. It's like right in your eye. So it's kind of a guide of, like, you feel it getting close, and that's where you hold your thing, and it keeps light from coming in on the edges. It works okay, but I would have preferred having, you know, a binocular sized larger rubber eye cup. But I can understand that they're trying to do this kind of in the 1-inch form factor, and so that might be why they didn't put a real eye cup on this guy. End cap works great. As long as it's down, it doesn't get in the way. If you hold it up like this, obviously it doesn't work well, so you want to hold it where it's down. This guy here, I think you're going to lose it. You're going to have to be careful to hold on to that guy, because even if you're using like the wrist strap through here, there's not a great way to attach this to the wrist strap. I mean, you can put the wrist strap through it, so you can kind of, you know, pull this thing through that plastic with a little effort. You know, so you could theoretically have like this thing kind of attached to the wrist strap, and then, you know, it comes up here. So that's probably your best bet for keeping it in place if you're using the wrist strap. Now also in the carry bag, in addition to the wrist strap, you get a little microfiber cloth. And then there's this bag here, which is, pretty nice and soft and padded. And if you put this guy in the bag, it's not going to get scratched or anything. So it's a nice little way to carry it around. Now, if I was hiking, I might just throw it in a pocket. If the lens covers aren't, it should be pretty fine in a pocket. So the objective lens is 25 millimeters. And with a 10x magnification level, we would expect to have a 2.5 millimeter exit pupil. And it does look about that size. So yeah, I'm measuring very close to 2.5 millimeter exit pupil. Looking through this scope does give me a view that appears to be about a 10x magnification. So I believe that all of their specifications for the magnification, objective lens size, and so forth are accurate. So I tried focusing this at something really close. I did have to turn the focus knob all the way this way around. And the closest I could get was about 13 inches, which is, a little bit more than their 0.98 feet or, 0.3 meters, but it's close to that range. So you can get a 10x magnified view from about, 13, 14 inches away from something. And so you can definitely use this for looking at insects or mushrooms or something you find out in the nature. The kind of foot distance is kind of nice because you're not getting super close to whatever creepy crawly you're looking at, but you can't get like super close to it. You're kind of backed up away from it a little bit. So it does work as a macro scope, but you do have to keep in mind, you really can't get any closer than about, 14, 15 inches to get it in focus. And you do have to get the distance kind of exactly right. So it's actually easier just to turn this thing all the way and then start approaching from about 16 inches, and when it comes into focus, you have it focused at the right distance. All right, looking through these, I have no complaints about the optics. The image quality is very good, kind of what you'd expect at this price point. Now, the eyecup here, I've found eye relief, they have it marked at 7.5, 11, and 14.5. So without my glasses, there's a definite improvement in field of view by going from their maximum down to like the 11. And so it doesn't have a lot of eye relief. I found that wearing glasses, even with this dialed all the way down, I get a smaller field of view than if I take the glasses off and use this up a little ways. So you don't have a lot of eye relief. It's not optimal for people who wear glasses. It works pretty well for them. And that being said, it has a really large focal distance. And so I can focus these to focus out my prescription. So I can take my glasses off, put this up halfway, and then use it very well and correct for my vision with the focus knob. There's a relatively small field of depth of focus, so if you move from one object to another, expect you're going to have to be moving this back and forth a little bit to get things focused back in, and that's kind of because it has a relatively small aperture and a decent zoom power. So at this price point, you can buy a very nice pair of binoculars that are going to be more comfortable to use, give you both binocular vision from both eyes. But I think what they're really optimizing for here is packability, weight, and size. And so it's hard to beat something that's 4 ounces. I mean, that's relatively small, relatively light. And so if you're doing a lot of hiking, walking around, you don't want to carry a big heavy thing of binoculars, this is a nice option between not having any magnification and carrying something big and heavy, because it can go in your pocket. It won't be terribly heavy there. If you had cargo pockets or something, you might kind of almost forget it was there. I mean, it's kind of dense because it is 4 ounces in a small package, but it's certainly something you can carry with you and not regret bringing on hour 3 of the hike. There is the trade-off, though, of it is a monocular. It has a relatively small exit pupil. You have to get your eye relatively close to use it. But when you're using it, the image quality is good, the view is good, the focusing ability is good. So it's a relatively premium monocular. So travel monocular, something that you're going to take with you, everyday carry type setup. So I've been pretty happy with the entire package. And it really depends on, are you looking to spend a decent amount of money on a nice pair of binoculars, or do you want something that's nice and easy to carry around? So it's not at all easy to aim your cell phone camera through that 2.5 millimeter exit pupil and get a picture. So the picture I'm going to show you, is through this scope. I don't think it's a really accurate representation of what it looks like to look through the scope. The image is a little better than this picture shows. So of other optics and binoculars I've reviewed, I think these guys here are kind of the closest competitor. They weigh more than twice as much. They're obviously at least 3 or 4 times the bulk, but they are binoculars, and despite rating as 15 by 25, they're really closer to like 8x by 25. They do a good optical view. They have rubber eye cups that can fold down, and that's important for me as an eyeglass wearer. Because they're closer to 8x instead of 10x, they have about a 3.4, 3.5 millimeter exit pupil, and they have more eye relief. And so I find these guys comfortable to look through compared to this guy because you have the larger exit pupil and more eye relief. Now, if you're not wearing eyeglasses, I think a lot of the advantages here go away. But there is the advantage of you get the binocular vision. And so magnification isn't quite as big, but it's close enough. So these guys certainly can't be used for macro viewing, within a foot or two. They're only for, distance viewing. So there's certain trade-offs here. I think size is really, and weight is the biggest one. But if you're looking for small compact optics, if you're willing to double your weight and triple your bulk, these guys I think are a little more comfortable to view through than this guy here. You can also do this with one hand relatively comfortably because you can focus and hold with one hand, although you probably are going to be using 2 hands for binoculars anyways. So I'm probably going to choose to carry these with me on most types of hiking, unless it's something where it's super lightweight and maybe I'm not expecting to see much, in which case I'm going to be, well, I'll carry this just in case there's something I really want to look at. But if I'm going someplace where I'm expecting there to be birds or fish or animals or whatever, then this guy would probably be my choice. And that's more of a preference over performance. Optically wise, they're very similar, but I think I prefer the rubber eye cups. There's longer eye relief here for my eyeglass using, and I kind of like binocular vision myself.